This is the CWU 0.6 meter research telescope. It has a 25 arc minute by 25 arc minute field of view, and it can see objects 3 to 18 apparent magnitude. The fans help circulate air through the dome so that after a hot day, the inside of the dome can reach ambient temperature faster. Otherwise, you get a large seeing value due to a mirage-like effect. There's also emergency equipment in the dome, a fire extinguisher, as well as a phone to call if you need assistance. The dome itself is used to protect the telescope from the elements. It also contains a slit for the telescope to be able to see the night sky and observe. Our telescope has an equatorial mount that points towards Polaris. The mount is manufactured specifically for our geographic location. An equatorial mount is useful because it can track objects across the sky as they move. Our telescope also has a refracting telescope that can be used as a finder scope or with an eyepiece for visual observations. The telescope also has a mirror cover. It is open currently to let light in. The CCD on our telescope is what takes our astronomical images. So now that you know its parts, now let's look at how to make sure the telescope is shut down properly. The first thing you want to make sure is that the dome is completely closed, and this is so that the telescope can remain completely protected from the elements outside. You also want to make sure that the dome is at home. This is 128 degrees azimuth. A good way to make sure that the dome is at home is to make sure that the hanging metal piece lines up with the second bolt on the right. If necessary, you can use manual controls to make it line up. You also must make sure that the telescope is at zenith and pointing straight up at the top of the dome. Another thing you must do is make sure that the mirror cover is closed to protect the mirror. The last thing to check on the telescope is that the CCD is silent and you can hear no sound of its fans. Make sure before you leave that the dome fans are turned off. And when you're all done, the last thing to do before you lock up is to turn out the lights. Now you know how to make sure the telescope is ready for the next person to use.